Hey guys, it's Cassidy, and welcome back to another episode of Fridays with Cassidy. So this week's video topic is hope, and I'm going to be talking about hope and mental health. However, you are not going to see my face the whole time. I actually made kind of a PowerPoint presentation to follow along with, which I'm going to be sharing with you via screen recording that I'm going to talk over top of. Mostly because this is not an easy topic for me to discuss. And so sometimes it's easier for me to not show my face when I'm talking about harder stuff. I know that might seem silly, but for somebody like me that has anxiety, it's just kind of, it's easier for me to talk about that kind of stuff and not show my face. But you will see me again at the end. So I hope that you guys enjoy this message. Alright, so this week's topic is hope, and so I wanted to bring up the subject of mental health. Having hope during dark times can be really hard, and so I wanted to share my own journey with mental health and maybe bring some hope to people who have gone through or are going through what I did. Alright, so here's my story. I've always been a pretty shy kid. I never liked raising my hand in class or talking to strangers or ordering food or even advocating for myself. So in elementary, I was diagnosed with general anxiety disorder and social anxiety disorder. So basically, general anxiety disorder is just excessive worrying about anything and everything, while social anxiety is more about a fear of being judged or being rejected in social situations. So for most of my childhood, I was seeing lots of different therapists and working on managing my anxiety, but we will come back to that. Then in junior high, I was severely bullied. There was a boy in my grade that sent out an email to my whole class telling everyone what a horrible person he thought I was. There's a lot of language in that email that I'm not going to repeat here, but the bottom line is that it made me feel terrible. To make things worse, lots of other people in my class started hitting reply all and joining in with everything that he was saying in that email. Those people's words and actions hurt me really deeply. The bullying continued, and it moved from cyberbullying to the hallways at school. As much as I tried to ignore them, I started to wonder if what they were saying was actually true. I remember feeling so alone and so desperate for help, but I was so afraid to ask for it. I started to wonder what I could do to escape all of my feelings and the situation I was in. I remember myself having suicidal thoughts. I remember writing out plans in a journal that I thought no one would find. My whole demeanor changed. I pulled away from my family and my friends, and I lost interest in my passions, like my music. Eventually, a friend talked to one of our teachers who contacted my parents, and I was hospitalized overnight as a precaution, and shortly after I was diagnosed with moderate to severe clinical depression. I was given a medication, and I began to see therapists even more regularly than I already was. I was on the road to recovery. That series of events forever changed me. Sometimes it's really hard to understand the power of your words until someone else's words hurt you the way my classmates' words hurt me. Anyways, I'm going to move on now. So then I entered high school, and I was in a really good mental state. I was stable, and I'd been off of medication for quite a while. And then in the middle of my grade 10 year, my grandpa passed away, and I began to relapse. I didn't understand why so many bad things were happening to me, and I was confused and angry with God. Once again, I went back to regular therapy to get myself in a better place. Coming into grade 11, I was kind of hurting. My good friend had moved away, and we completely lost contact. I told myself that this was not a year for me to be worrying about making new friends, and so I focused on the friendships I already had, as well as my academics. And then around Christmas, I started having panic attacks at school. I didn't know how to properly deal with them, so I would go hide by myself in a bathroom or hallway. I kept wondering if things would ever get better, and I couldn't help but think that they wouldn't. I was back in a place of not knowing how to deal with my pain, and so I turned to cutting. I hid it from everybody for a while until Andrew, who was just a friend at the time, was able to convince me to let him in on what was happening. However, things kept getting worse, and I relapsed further into more suicidal thoughts. And finally, in February, my mom figured out what was going on, and I was brought back to therapy. Even though I didn't know at the time, that was the start of the final road to recovery for me. Sure, I still have bad days, but that's just what happens when you have clinical depression or you're just simply a human being. What I've learned is that a bad day is just that, a day. Not a week, a month, a year, and it definitely doesn't define your whole life. One day does not have the power to control you. There's always hope because there's going to be a tomorrow that hopefully won't be so bad. All right, now I'm going to move into some of the feelings that I experienced during those darker times and give some biblical evidence and explanation to counteract those feelings. All right, so one of the feelings that I went through was loneliness. Remember when I talked about in junior high how when I went through that bullying and I just felt so alone. And so to counteract that feeling, here is Deuteronomy 31:6. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you or forsake you. God is never going to leave us or forsake us. It doesn't matter where we go, what we do, or even how we feel. God is never going to leave us alone. He's always right there beside us. Another feeling that I had was that of feeling unloved. And so to counteract that, here's Romans 8:38-39. For I am convinced that neither life nor death, neither angels nor demons, neither the present nor the future, nor any powers, neither height nor depth, nor anything else in all creation will be able to separate us from the love of God that is in Jesus Christ our Lord. There's nothing, literally nothing, not even death, that is going to separate us from God's love. If that's not love, I don't know what is. We are loved unconditionally beyond any sort of earthly love. Another feeling was that I didn't feel like I was worth anything. And so I give you Psalm 139:13-14. For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. I honestly don't know how else to explain this verse other than that God already knew each of us was more precious than gold before we even existed. I also wasn't sure how I could face my pain, and so here is 1 Corinthians 10:13. No temptation has overtaken you except what is common to mankind, and God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you are tempted, He will also provide a way out so that you can endure it. We're going to be tempted in life, but God is never going to let us be tempted with anything more than what we can handle. The most important part of that verse to me is the last part, that being, He will always provide a way out so that you can endure it. God is smart. He knows. God is all-knowing. He knows exactly what we can handle, and He knows that even though we think we might not be able to handle it, that we can, because it's all part of His plan. And if He's going to allow us to endure temptation, He's also going to provide us with the solution. And lastly, I was wondering if things were ever going to get better. And so to counteract that thought, here is Matthew 6:25-33. Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothes? Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or stow away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? Can any one of you by worrying add a single hour to your life? I need to work on my reading. If God can take care of the birds, can He not take care of you? There are so many greater things to come, and so worrying isn't going to fix anything. It's only going to make you feel worse in the moment, and that's a concept that I'm still trying to wrap my mind around. All right, and lastly, support systems. I want you guys to take a minute and reflect on this. Who in your life uplifts you, encourages you, challenges you, and walks alongside you? That is your support system. Those are your people. Those are people that you need to support as well. If you want to be a person, that uplifts others, encourages others, challenges others, and walks alongside others. I would encourage you to think about that. Part 1 being, do you have a support system? And part 2, are you a support system for somebody? And if the answer to either of those is no, or you're not sure, I would encourage you to look more into that. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact myself or Teen Word. I'll link my Instagram down below. And so if you guys want to contact me, go for it. I know that this is some tricky stuff, and this is not an easy topic to discuss, but yeah. I know that I would have loved to talk to somebody that had gone through it when I was going through it. So yeah, I would encourage you guys to reach out. If it's you that's going through mental health things, or it's somebody you know and you want help and you want to know how to help them, reach out. I would be more than happy to answer any questions or to help anybody. All right, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in and for listening to my story, and I hope that I helped in some way. Having hope in a time like this is not always easy. And so if you are, how do I say this? Oh man. If you're going through this, or even if you're just feeling hopeless because of all of the stuff going on in our world right now, I hope that this helped. Yeah, like I said before, feel free to reach out. Yeah, I would be more than happy to help you guys, or even if you just want prayer, that is something that I would totally be willing to do. That would make me so happy to be able to pray for you guys. Yeah, feel free to reach out to me on my Instagram, which I will put down below. Feel free to subscribe to Teen Word, or go follow us on Instagram, because there's new videos every day and there's a new topic every week. It's all very exciting, and there's lots of exciting things to come this summer and coming for the rest of the year. So, bye, you guys.